My name is Nyla Torgerson,
I'm Maya McCoy.
And I'm Reed Morgan.
and this is our presentation on personal expression in pop culture.
Content warning. The following slides do contain discussions and artistic depictions of breasts. So, all right, femininity in art. In the reading by Sandra Kate, the topic of Pinari Sanpitak's breast stupa cookery project was briefly described as challenging conventional attitudes towards the female body. In an interview conducted by Tan Siuli in 2023, Pinari expands on her interest towards the feminine figure. She describes the breast as sacred, more grounded in the creation and setup processes. The connection between breast and motherhood is one grounded upon the ideas of caring and nurturing, which is why Pinari incorporated the new non-koscians into her art as well. Breasts are the foundation of human development, the source of nutrition for all of us during our infancy. All right, so these are all different ideas that Pinari brings up in her art exhibit. Breasts, the Buddhist stupa, pillows, and food. The connection between breasts and stupa made is that they are sacred. The connection between the Buddhist stupa and pillows is security and safety. And the connection between breasts and pillows is comfort, as well as sustenance between breasts and food. These are all made to reduce suffering. All of these themes are meant to represent how the interconnectivity between ideas that are brought up in Buddhism, as well as with different traits for a lot of different women around the world and stuff. So, next slide. So, why the stupa? For some much needed context, the stupa is a form of Buddhist architecture used to contain several important cultural artifacts, including images, statues, medals, even human remains. So, the most important aspect of the stupa is its spherical shape, with a peak that extends into a pointed tip. In layman's terms, it's boob-shaped. Utilizing the name of a location with such extreme religious importance was intentional. It was intended for the reader to make a connection between the meditative, welcoming comfort of a religious building and the comfort and care we receive from the feminine figures in our lives.
So what really is pop culture? For something to be a part of pop culture, it is to have an effect on the general population's perception of both themselves and their surroundings, and therefore have a greater effect on their view of culture. This is how Thai Rocky can impact the expression of masculinity in Thailand, and how perceptions of masculinity can shift and change. Of course, when the scandal involving Thai Rocky and the drugs was exposed, his reputation shifted and changed, and therefore people's perceptions of boxing, drugs, and masculinity changed. He was a part of pop culture. And because of this, his life had an impact on other aspects, including expression, perception, and politics. His very public involvement with the law shows how a piece of pop culture can affect politics. Now, in Thailand and Myanmar, there have been vast protests to promote democratic processes in government. Although there is so much to cover about these protests, I would like to focus on one thing. Many of you might have seen the Hunger Games and are familiar with this gesture. Well, starting in 2014, parts of Asia started to use this gesture during protests. The reasoning behind this is that the people feel a connection to the movie because of what the District 12 had to go through and the insurrection they feel against the capital. This gesture has become part of politics in this region, a show of wanting more power for the people. Now, Thai Rocky also had this sort of power. The power to shift people's perceptions and shift politics is part of the greater reason why pop culture has a direct impact on the world around them.
For my slide, I'll be talking about Katsioi, masculinity and femininity in Muay Thai. One lens through which to view gender identity and masculinity in Thailand is through sports, more specifically through the national sport of Muay Thai. Muay Thai is seen as a hyper-masculine sport, embodying masculine ideals such as being the breadwinner, politeness, respect, as well as religious and supernatural knowledge and discipline. Another key component of the masculine identity associated with Muay Thai is that of the gendered concept of sakski, which represents dignity and honor. Muay Thai fighters practice a deep sense of professionalism that separates the raw brutality of Muay Thai from the actual martial art through the use of satsuki. Many young boys and men, especially from poor backgrounds, take up Muay Thai in order to provide for themselves and their families and to find stability in the traditional masculine gender identity that comes with being a Muay Thai fighter. However, within this hyper-masculine sport, there's been a coalescing of different ideas of gender identity in Thailand. In recent years, there has been a rise in Katioi Muay Thai fighters who, despite presenting and identifying as female, continue to participate in the fierce and masculine martial art. For many Katioi, as Stephen Renaissance notes in their article, Two Competing Cultures of Masculinity. When Thai transgender bodies go through Muay Thai, for Katioi, like boys from poorer backgrounds, Muay Thai provides a way for them to provide for themselves and achieve economic and social stability. Through this economic and social stability, be able to present their body and themselves how they feel inside, connecting their heart with their physical appearance. Katioi, like Nung Tum, Nung Tim, and Nung Rose, train, spar, fight, and immerse themselves in the sport and culture of Muay Thai just as other fighters, yet they keep and maintain their feminine gender identity. Despite their success and efforts within Muay Thai, however, Katioi still face deep discrimination in the gendered sport, with Nung Rose stating after one of her victories that being a transgender doesn't mean that we're weak. Despite all of the efforts of fighting on a level playing field with other Muay Thai fighters, Katioi still face a deep discrimination within Thailand society and are not seen on the same playing field as other male Muay Thai fighters.
Alright, so I'm going to be talking about philosophy through art. And in the reading, Ambina Landang was described as an important leader of his community. He started an art workshop for the young people in his community to start carving and making art pieces about whatever they wanted. A nice quote from him is, "Through our carvings, we want to communicate to our fellow citizens and to all the peoples of the world that there is a Tarasha philosophy of life that was recorded in carvings in the eras before writing existed, and that this Tarasha life philosophy still has relevance for us all. All that you see here, it's all our philosophy." And Bina Landang's main goal is to bring about ethnic equality, and he does that by including traditional Tarasha symbols and lessons in his artwork. He says that he wants to carve a new path for his community and their rivals. He wants to do this by inviting them for food and drink on tables that he and his students have carved. So during the 1997 economic crisis in Thailand, young artists were using new forms of media such as film, dance, performance, and interactive art presentations to confront Thai social realities. This specific series is called Breath Donation by this artist right here. It's an interactive art exhibition that symbolizes different aspects of Thai national identity. The elephant you see in the bottom right is representing the nation itself and is one of the most common motifs in Thai art and craft. And the water buffalo up on the top left is an icon of rice growing. Viewers of the exhibition would blow into tubes connected to the silicone forms, blowing into them, blowing up the forms, giving them life, symbolizing that the community working together is what brings life to all these different forms of identity.
So how do these themes connect to the rest of the book? They connect to quite a few chapters. I just chose 3 of them to talk about. I wanted to talk about how it connects to the chapter about Javanese women and the veil by Nancy Smith Hafner, which connects in the way of gender and gender presentation and how people's individual presentation affects cultural gender. Women nowadays are wearing the veil not in sort of the conservative ways that some people might think they are, but as protest and as political messaging um, against tyranny and against Piriani values, but also as a personal expression of an identity that is spiritual and that values intelligence over beauty. The chapter by Johnson about the Mien, I found it interesting how documentary played a role in the political sphere, and who was doing the documenting and why. The first documentary they talk about from the 1990s served as political messaging for the purpose of othering and putting down the Mien, and so making the Thai look better in contrast, versus the wedding that was being documented that Johnson went to um, was political messaging both on the Mien people who were doing the wedding, but also on the people who were doing the courting, of showing how progressive, how rich, how successful the Mien actually are, um, and like uplifting them even as they continue their traditions. And the last chapter I wanted to talk about was the chapter about beauty in Laos by Holly Hai. She talked a little bit about how skin color is an identity in Australia, but it's not an identity like in itself. In Laos, it's the thing that people are expressing it's something to express their identity through. And the thing that they're expressing their identity is their social class, their wealth, their merit. And so people are expressing the kind of how wealthy and good they want to be through fashion, like wearing a ton of gold, through their architecture, having constantly better houses, through makeup, making their skin lighter. And I also thought that there was an interesting point there about how these personal things were being affected by outside cultural norms being displayed through art, in the sense of her friend Lot's understanding about what wealth looks like came from actors on Thai TV channels. It was what Thai actors through television look like. That's the ideal.